Counting Sheep, and I'm going to just play with a few triggers tonight with you. And I'm going to start with this tin. I have 6 of them. I may have played with them sometime in the past. They hold teas, as you can see, each one a different kind, and they're each flavored green teas, some natural flavored and some not natural, or artificial, I should say. And I've got different things in different tins, and I think this one has some buttons in it, so I thought I would play with that a little bit. First, I'll just tap on it, and then we'll open it up and see what kinds of buttons are inside. Each of them has a different color and a different teapot or tea kettle on the front of it. This one's a tea pot, so there you go. I am more fond of black tea than green tea, and if you watch my other tea videos, you'll know, or you may already know, that all green tea, black tea, oolong tea, white tea all come from the same plant, and it's a Camellia sinensis plant. So, there you go. And so they all have caffeine, but depending on the processing, how they're processed, crushed, dried, how long they're dried, the caffeine kind of takes on a different quality. And for some reason, green teas, and it may be that it's something that's paired with the caffeine, but it makes me more jittery, even though black tea has more caffeine in it. I get the jitters more with green tea than I do with black tea. I like to start my mornings off with black tea. I usually put in a little bit of stevia and almond milk. Used to love cream and sugar, but I can't do that quite as much now as I get older. So I found some of my mother's old bits and bobs, as my friend Andy would say. Hi, Andy. And these are some of those silly old eyeballs that you can get in craft stores. And I'm thinking my mom probably had these. She used to make these pom-poms. She'd make them herself out of yellow yarn. And then she would glue little eyes on them and make them into little chicks and bunnies. I'm guessing it was in the spring or at Easter time. Anyway, so those are her little eyes. It says moving eyes on there in the description. And I won't pull all of these out, but we'll pull a few more buttons out. Show them to you. I don't know if the color of these will even show up because they're white. And there's not a lot of contrast. This is at least cream, so there's a little bit of contrast. So there you go. And what else? There's some very large. She must have had them color coordinated or something, because I've got, this tin is just full of cream, so I must have pulled them from something else. I don't remember doing that myself, but maybe I did. All right. There's a little gnat flying around here. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it's kind of annoying me. There's some old needles, Dritz needles. Looks like she must have had one threaded. Oh, fun. Some old wooden buttons. Those are beautiful. Got a little bit of a burnt or scalloped edge. Those are pretty. I like those. My sister and I'm going to wrap this string around it, went through a phase where, in fact, one of these tins has the old ring. It's just a ring base, and you glue on to the ring, and there was a period of time where we would go through my mom's old buttons and make little button rings out of them. We thought they were so cool. And we were in our 40s, so this was not when we were children. Anyway, all right. Most of these are kind of just typical buttons. So, I'll put those away. Put them back home in their little tin. I just think those are so pretty. All right. My next little trigger is this crazy little, a friend got this for me just recently, and I'm not sure what it says about me, but I love it. And these little feathers come out, and I had another friend come and visit with her dog, and the dog got hold of the feathers, and I thought, oh, that's the end of that. But I washed them after the dog, got them out of the dog's mouth and let them dry, and they were just fine. But I just think he's got this kind of adorable look on his face. It's made out of ceramics, and then it's got these little holes to put feathers in. And I always put him near a piece of art, or I put him by something that makes it look like he's looking up at it, and he looks a little crazy, which I love. So there we go. Because we're all a little crazy, at least I certainly am. Well, if you have any ideas for names, I think he needs a name. So if you think of a good name for him, put him in the comment section, and I'll read through them, and I'll give him a name. There you go. And I'll show you how he sits there. He just sits there kind of looking up at things. I'll let him look at you for a minute. Let's see, maybe I'll take one of his feathers. I'll take a white feather. Just brush it up against you for a moment. There you go. Let you feel that. Yeah, it's just gentle, fluffy and soft. And our little crazy bird is watching in the background, thinking, that ASMR is really crazy. Okay, there we go. Great, okay. So there's that. And then I found some kind of fun shells. It's interesting because different beaches tend to have different shells. So there's one little beach out here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's say I'm going to keep that off of that tin table because I think it'll make too much noise. Manila clams. You know, you'll go and find different beaches and they have different shells, basically. And there's one really cool beach that has sand dollars. I may have talked about that before. But sand dollars, when they're alive, are dark purple. And they have this really luminescent glow to them. When the tide is low, they're beautiful. And they stack up, not quite vertically, but almost kind of like a, you know, a little bit of a slant to them, a little bit of a, I would say steeper than a 45 degree. But anyway, they just stack up. And they move. They've got little cilia or little hair like fall. I'm calling them cilia, but it allows them to move very slowly. But it's interesting. So this was a little beach that had a lot of these white oyster shells, and some of them have shells built on shells where they're just like that, and they're made, you know, they're hardened together, and it's just, I don't know. I think it's so cool to look at. And I kind of love the imperfections. You can see this one has some holes in it. And you can kind of see into the shell at different angles, yeah? The layers. I just find that kind of fascinating. There we go. And then the color inside. This one doesn't show it as much, but they have that mother of pearl look to them a lot of times where you can see the purples and the pinks. Almost has a sunset glow to it. So I'll just play with those for a minute. I was into painting these. I think it was this last Christmas season. I think I showed you some of them. And these oyster shells, with all their irregularities, make me want to try something with painting them as well, but they're so white and beautiful by themselves. I like sometimes just to set a tea candle in them. Let them burn just the way they are. They're a nice way to present a little gift, like a little necklace with a charm or something, and wrap it around and have the little charm hanging in the middle. They just are beautiful for presentation. Naturally beautiful. All right, so those are my two little shells. That one has some fun bumps. Little hills and valleys, maybe. All right. Put that over there. Then I'm just going to show you something I've been working on. My sister and I, but she's a really great knitter, and she's been dyeing yarns. Oh, I'm going to go crazy if I see all these things that are being left behind. As I tried to clean this off before. Anyway, this is what I made most recently. Actually, I made a baby blanket the other day, but this is what I've made for me most recently, and it's just a granny square crochet stitch, which is about the easiest you can get, and you just do it in a pattern that makes a big giant V, and then you can wrap it around your neck so that it hangs in front, and so that the little ends kind of drape around each side. Obviously, I'm not going to move the camera and model it for you, but that's the idea. And I just loved it. I liked these funky colors. And it's been cold enough lately here that I'm able to wear it if I'm out and about. So I went to Port Townsend today. Had a wonderful day. It was incredible. There's all these old it's like really cool and really creepy at the same time. There's a Fort Worden State Park there. And those of you who are from out this way know what I'm talking about. But it's got these old, I don't know, it's like artillery holdings and places where they would hide it in the hillside. And they used it for both World War I and World War II. And it used to have, I guess, 400 buildings when it was in its prime. And now there's about 90 buildings there, and they turned it into a state park. And what I love about it is it has a little bit of everything. It has history, it has wonderful hikes and trails, and it has the ocean. It has a gorgeous lighthouse, and then these fabulous old historic buildings. I guess it's where they filmed An Officer and a Gentleman, for those of you that are old enough to remember that. But it's really quite a place, and I wish my family lived closer, because I would love to have a family reunion there. They have a lot of old little places that they rent out as cabins. They're old, I wouldn't call them barracks. I think of barracks as being more, very basic, and these are really like nice little homes. But anyway, and I could be wrong. Those of you that may have served or are serving, maybe barracks refers to something totally different. But anyway, it's a cool place to go, and it has like a big commons with a cafeteria, so you really could have a lot of people there visiting at one time. And again, it's by the ocean, and it has buildings. So there you go. All right, my crocheting. And then I thought that I would just end the evening with scratching, which is one of my absolute favorite triggers. This is the fabric of my couch. In fact, where I'm sitting right now. Oh, I've got my little camera bag here that velcroed itself to it. But anyway, I hope this sound will translate. I'm just going to scratch for a little bit, and then I'll say good night. But yeah, scratching is one of my favorite triggers.